The day I realized the woman I was about to marry had been deceiving me for months was the day my entire world collapsed. Everything I believed about love, loyalty, and commitment dissolved in an instant. The truth I uncovered didn't just shake me, it redefined me. And what I did in response was something I never imagined I had in me. My name is Alex. I was engaged to a woman named Emily. For over 4 years, she had been the center of my world, the person I had imagined growing old with. We had built a life together that, at least from the outside, seemed solid and enviable. Friends admired our relationship, often telling us how lucky we were to have found each other. We had spent months planning our wedding. The venue was booked, invitations sent, and every little detail seemed to be falling into place perfectly. Emily had a magnetic personality. She was vibrant, charming, and full of life. People naturally gravitated toward her. I, on the other hand, was quieter, more reserved, more grounded. But somehow we clicked. She added color and spontaneity to my life, and I gave her a sense of calm and steadiness. It felt like we were a perfect team. At least that's what I kept telling myself. But then, subtle changes began to creep in. At first they were easy to ignore. She'd come home later than usual, sometimes saying work kept her busy. Other times she seemed preoccupied, like her mind was somewhere else entirely. There were nights when she left without saying much about where she was going or who she was with. When I asked, she'd give me vague replies, just out with friends, or, I lost track of time. I wanted to believe her. I didn't want to be that insecure guy who questioned everything. So I pushed my doubts down and convinced myself it was nothing. That maybe she was just stressed with all the wedding preparations. But the doubts kept piling up. As the wedding day drew closer, the distance between us only widened. Emily began going out more often, staying out later each time. Her behavior became increasingly evasive. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong. When I brought it up, she'd smile and dismiss my concerns like they were silly. Relax, Alex. It's just a night out. You're overthinking it. But I wasn't. I could feel it in my gut. Then one night everything changed. She came home around 2 in the morning. I was still awake, though I pretended not to be at first. I heard the door open, then the soft thud of her bag hitting the floor. She looked disheveled, her makeup was smudged, her hair messier than usual. And she was wearing a dress I'd never seen before. Sleek, bold, something that didn't match her usual style. It wasn't just the dress that caught me off guard, it was how she carried herself. She wouldn't meet my eyes. She mumbled something about being out late and headed straight for the bathroom. I followed her with my eyes, trying to stay calm even though my chest felt tight. I asked her gently, "Where were you?" She gave a half-hearted shrug. "Just out, you know," she replied, already turning away. It wasn't the lateness or the dress alone that unsettled me. It was the way she acted, like she had rehearsed being indifferent, like she didn't want me to dig deeper. I wanted to trust her. I wanted so badly to believe that it was just pre-wedding nerves, that everything would settle down once the big day passed. But I knew better. Deep down, I felt the truth clawing its way to the surface. That night, after she went to bed, I sat alone in the living room, staring at the glow of the TV without registering a single word. I replayed every recent moment, every odd behavior, every excuse she had given. And suddenly the picture became clear. But that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was still to come. What I eventually discovered, what I found out just days later, would break something inside me for good. And in response, I made a choice, one that no version of me before that night would have dared to make. I had spent the evening in front of the television, waiting for her return. The hours dragged on until, finally, around midnight, the sound of her heels echoed through the apartment as she walked in. The moment I saw her, I sensed something had changed. She wore a tight red dress, bold, form-fitting, the kind that demanded attention, and her eyes sparkled with an unfamiliar energy. But it wasn't the playful charm I was used to. There was something else there. Something distant, almost guarded. I stood up slowly, trying to keep my emotions in check. "Where were you?" I asked, keeping my voice calm despite the storm building inside me. She barely looked at me, brushing the question aside with a flippant, "I went to a party." But her tone lacked conviction, and for the first time I didn't believe her. She added, "It was just a few friends getting together. Why do you care so much? I told you I was going." That dismissiveness hit hard. I'd heard it before, but this time it cut deeper. I wasn't going to let it slide again. "Emily," I said firmly, the frustration clear in my voice, "I've asked you over and over. Every time you go out, you make me feel like I'm the problem just for wanting to spend time with you. Why do you keep pushing me away?" Her expression shifted. Something flickered in her eyes, cold, irritated. She rolled them, clearly done with the conversation. I'm going out whether you like it or not. It's just a party, Alex. Get over it. That was the moment I knew I was losing her. Something inside me cracked and the silence between us grew wider. But what happened next shattered everything. The next day, I was sitting on the couch when she left her phone on the kitchen counter. I had never been the type to snoop, but then a message popped up, just one line from her friend Linda. I can't believe you did that last night. My stomach twisted. What had she done? What was she hiding? I tried to resist the urge, but as she disappeared into the shower, my curiosity overpowered me. I picked up the phone. The screen lit up with messages, a flood of them, but my eyes locked on Linda's words. I was about to set it down when another notification buzzed. This one from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I opened the conversation. And there it was. The truth hit me like a train. Emily and Linda hadn't just gone to any party, it had been a swinger party. My heart pounded as I scrolled through the messages. Emily hadn't just attended. She had slept with 3 men that night all at once. I froze, staring at the screen, numb. I couldn't comprehend what I was reading. The woman I was supposed to marry had been sneaking around behind my back, living a double life, and I had been completely blind to it. I put the phone down, my hands trembling, my body cold. I didn't confront her right away. I needed time. I needed to be sure. 2 days later, she said she had another girls' night planned. This time I didn't ask questions. I didn't argue. I waited, then followed her. She met Linda at a bar downtown. I stayed back, hidden, and watched. A short while later, 2 men arrived, strangers I'd never seen before. But Emily and Linda greeted them like old friends. Laughter, flirtation, playful touches. It was all there. My chest tightened. Then, in front of everyone, Emily leaned in and kissed one of the men. My heart shattered, but I raised my phone and took a photo. Then another. I couldn't stop myself. I needed proof, undeniable proof. I followed them from the bar to a nearby hotel. Watched her disappear inside with one of the men. She didn't look back. She didn't even hesitate. When she returned the next morning, she acted like nothing had happened. I didn't say a word. I couldn't. Instead, I quietly packed my things, took the engagement ring I had once chosen with love and hope, and walked out the door. I didn't say goodbye. I didn't leave a note. I just left. The next morning, I woke up alone in a hotel room. My phone was flooded with messages from her. Where are you? Why aren't you answering? What's going on? But I didn't reply. She didn't deserve an explanation. She had made her decision. So I made mine. I called off the wedding. Canceled everything. I didn't want to be tethered to someone who could betray me so deeply. I left the city, moved somewhere new where the memories couldn't follow me, and started over. Word eventually reached me about her. I never went looking, but stories have a way of finding you. Her life unraveled. Her friends distanced themselves. Her family was ashamed. Her relationships never lasted. She was left to deal with the fallout of her own actions. But none of it mattered to me anymore. I had no interest in revenge, no desire for closure. Emily had made her choice, and I had made mine.